Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, you guys are having a great Thursday or a great week. I know it is now Thursday, and yeah, the weather here is getting nice. I always kept saying the weather stunk and it was cold, and what is that? Whatever. It's now time. So we're back into it. It's starting to get warm. Courses are going to start opening, and my league starts up in like a month. So super excited for that. So before we get into today's episode, just want to let you know it is brought to you by Titleist and the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf balls. How does the best get better? Well, we're going to find out because now there's a new Titleist Pro V1 and Pro V1X. The original launch of the Pro V1 was in 2000, so this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Titleist Pro V1. Titleist R&D asked players what they wanted in the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X, and they said more spin on scoring shots into the green. R&D delivered as both models give players increased spin. They also provide more speed off the tee and control with the irons. Many on tour are already teeing up the new Pro V1 and Pro V1X, including Ludwig Aberg, Wyndham Clark, and Will Zalatoris. The new Pro V1 is a great fit for most players and a great place to start in your golf fitting process. Compared to the Pro V1, the Pro V1X is a higher flight and has a firmer feel. But there's also a Pro V1X left dash if you're looking for a flight similar to Pro V1X, but with much lower full swing spin and a firmer feel. Visit Titleist.com for everything there is to know about the new Pro V1, Pro V1X, and Pro V1X left dash. So we are back. It is a beautiful Thursday, definitely here in Metro Detroit. It is definitely getting nice. I think some of the public courses are starting to open up, and we're seeing people starting to golf. I drove by the driving range the other day, running some errands with my wife and my daughter, and the one driving range near me, the one I usually go to, was packed. There were tons of people on it. It wasn't quite people waiting in line at bays to hit balls, but there were a lot of people out there. So my brother said, who lives in the Royal Oak area around here, said the big range near them, packed, people waiting in line, all that. So golf is getting here. Spring is on the verge of happening. So super excited. I'm super excited to get on the course. I've been fortunate enough to play a few rounds, since the weather got bad here, the past few weeks, end of February, end of January, but I'm looking forward to hitting some balls outside. So I'm going to go outside after I record this. I'm recording this on Wednesday, of course. I'm going to jump outside and go hit some balls into my net. So I'm going to pull the old mat out of the garage, blow the dust off that bad boy, and bring one of the launch monitors out and hit a few balls. So I'm excited for that, and it'll be nice. I'm going to be out there in a t-shirt, pair of shorts. It's going to be phenomenal. Super, super excited. So it's been a good week. Been hitting a ton of stuff. I've still been kind of indoors just because it's just now starting to get nice in the past couple weeks. Just been hitting balls indoors, but super excited. Just got a brand new, a few new things in that I'm excited to test, and one of them is the new Cobra 3DP Tour irons. Really excited to get those out there. I hit the limiteds last year. Just had a 7-iron hit those and was super impressed with how playable and how good those were. So gonna hit those. I'm kind of gonna go out today and do a little kind of like 7-iron shootout and see what I'm hitting, see what's looking good, what's maybe not, and see if we have a little ranking at the moment of what's potentially going in the bag. We're a little ways off from a true what's in the bag, but at least get it narrowed down a little bit in terms of irons. So gonna go hit a few things there, and then I threw some all-fit screws in the Ping G440 heads, the Max and the 999, or the Max and the LST, and gonna go hit those as well. So I hit those with the stock Tour 2.0s, the chrome and the black. Hit those last week, and then I want to hit them with some different shafts, see what happens. So a lot of good stuff. I mean, I still got the Cobra stuff to hit. There's a ton. So I'm super excited there. Just got a couple new putters from Even Roll in, so some of their new V series and their new Carlsbad series. And the Carlsbad series, interesting enough, is kind of like their price point one. I kind of really like the Carlsbad so far. It's kind of got a nice soft feel to it. But I got a bunch of stuff in to hit and report back. I still got the Artera EC1 blue and blacks. I got to hit those. Get those, out there and played. So I've got a lot of stuff out there. I'm going to take out. I got, Diamante Red Board, or the new Diamante RB, the Red Board to hit. So I got a lot of stuff to hit, and I don't got so many swings in the body. So there we go. And I do have to say, I will say one thing. I know everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, when you see me do a lot of video stuff and all that, your boy here lost a couple pounds when he went into the doctor today. So I've been, riding the Peloton a little. doing some free weights. I got just some dumbbells and kettlebells. I don't have anything fancy in my basement, but just doing a few things, most nights of the week, and starting to show a little bit. So I'm happy with that, and starting to lose a couple pounds. See if I can bring a little speed back, because as you get older, it starts going away. But today's episode, we're going to talk today about a very, very nice set of irons that I've been hitting for a couple weeks now, 2 weeks now, after I built them up. And they are going to be the brand new Miura TC-202s. So these are the brand new, they replaced the TC-201s that were previously out that people just absolutely love, kind of a cult classic. And now this is the TC-202 that they just came out with. So it's a one-piece forged cavity back with a decent amount of perimeter weighting to it and a slightly oversized blade. So it's not super tiny, super compact, a little longer blade length heel to toe than some other stuff, but still got to have that nice squared off mural look to it. Very little offset, just a little bit in these irons. But overall, top line is, I would say, thin, but not crazy thin. They are really, really nice looking. So these things are really, I mean, they're beautiful from the look. I actually took my time and built these things up without, rushing through it. So these don't have, my ferrules don't have a bunch. I actually turned them down and made them smooth and everything. So I actually took my time with these. But the big story with the TC-202 is that it's got this T-weight bar in the back. So in the back cavity, you can kind of see there's this T-weight bar. If you're watching this on YouTube, or you want to, just look up Club Junkie or GolfWRX Radio. But you can see this T-bar here, which is kind of this, almost shark fin looking detail on the back. And what that does is they basically change the size, the size and the shape a little bit of this T-weight bar in every iron. So they try to move as much weight low as possible in like the 4-iron. And then when they move into the pitching, 9-iron pitching wedge, all that, they try to move weight higher up on this bar to kind of flight each iron, get that CG correct, make the 4-iron easier, higher to hit, make the short irons, more penetrating flight, and then, stuff like the, 6-7 iron, kind of a mid flight. So trying to make sure that everything flies kind of throughout the correct window, and they do it through this bar. Interesting enough, I think it looks really good. I think it's, kind of got a slightly more futuristic look than the TC-201. But overall, I think it's pretty simple and looks really good. I was amazed in the forums how many people really didn't like the look of the backing on this thing. I don't understand. To me, it's just kind of this matte, this matte silver kind of paint and matte finish on there, and the rest of the iron is just this, really nice kind of light satin chrome. But a lot of people didn't like the looks. They liked the 201 better, which I get. It's a little more simple. It kind of had, two little blocks on the heel and toe. But this thing, to me, I think looks really good. I think, when it sits there, in a display or something like that, it looks nice. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think it looks good. And like I said, from address, from 4-iron down to gap wedge, I think this set looks really, really good. Everything flows well with each other. The gap wedge is maybe could be a hair more compact in terms of look. It does look a little bit bigger than the pitching wedge. But I think it's still, the set flows really, really nicely. And it's interesting because we went on a lot of like Miura irons that come from Japan, and a lot of the Japanese style irons are very squared off. And these have a very square toe, very sharp kind of point at the top, just very straight lines on the iron. And I do have to say that's usually not my style. I usually like something a little more rounded, a little bit more kind of bubbly. That's usually my go-to. Very actually impressed with how much I like these, because I didn't think I would like them as much with that squared off look, but I think just the proportion being a little bit larger blade, to me, I think it hides some of it or kind of softens it a touch, and I really like the look. So very straight leading edge when you look down, no real roundness there. And then on the sole, they've got this new Y sole, which has kind of a pre-worn leading edge on it. That's going to help kind of get the leading edge down on the ground on tight lies. It's also got that bevel there that's going to help get through the turf without digging. And then there's some trailing edge relief as well built into this sole that's going to help it release and get through the turf quickly. So overall, just a really, really nice forged irons, forged out of, what is it? I think it's SC20 or S20C carbon steel. So going to be very soft, very responsive. And, as you'd expect from a Miura iron, I don't think anybody would expect anything different. But yeah, carbon steel, really, really nice look. But overall, I think they did a great job. Now this one here, it doesn't have a thin face, it doesn't have speed built into it, anything like that. So this is not going to be a big distance machine. This is going to be built for precision, consistency, and hitting shots that you want to hit into the green in order to score well. So these are pushed more towards the better, more skilled golfer. Now I know they are a little bit bigger, they're a little bit more oversized than maybe some other cavity backs out there, like a Titleist 620 CB or something like that. But even though it's a little bit larger, it doesn't make it crazy forgiving. It does take a little bit of precision and getting that ball a little close to center in order to get kind of the most out of this iron. But when you do hit it well, it is really good. But the overall looks, I think, really great. I shafted these up with a set of Nippon Modus Tour 115s, so something kind of in that mid-weight range. Built them up just to basically the same specs as the TC-201s. And when it comes to consistency and all that, they sent me just the heads, which was totally fine. I mean, I've got tons of shafts here, all that. So Miura sent me the actual just the heads. And putting these together, usually you have tip weights and all that to get everything, the swing weights right, all that. These things here, I think 2 of the irons used a 2-gram tip weight, and one of those was the gap wedge because I wanted to play it actually a little bit heavier. I wanted the swing weight to be about D4. And then I think one other iron had a 2-gram tip weight. That is it. The rest of these are built with nothing. They are that good. The weight is that spot on, and they are that consistent from iron to iron, and they just flat out were, just that consistent. So extremely easy to build, extremely tight when you go to put shafts into the hosels. Like there is no slop, no play, anything like that. These things fit together nicely, and they are a really good set of iron heads. They're high quality. They're really nice, and yeah, the finish and all that I think is really solid. So really good looking set of irons here, and like I said, the build was nice, and overall looks and all that I think are really good. So hitting these, the first thing everybody's of course going to want to ask, because of the Miura iron, are they soft? Yes, they're soft. They're very soft. I would say these go up there with probably the softest irons I've hit of the year. I know I raved about the Mizuno S3s. I think these things here are probably just as soft, if not a hair softer. Very soft when you hit it dead center. And of course, like every single iron I go to review, the first swing I put on it is always just dead flushed, perfect dead center, and just a really soft, solid feel to it. There's no hollowness, no brilliance. The sound off it is extremely muted. It's a heavy thud. There's no click at all. Just a really nice sound and feel when you get it in the center. And when you get in the center on any club, whether it's a gap wedge, whether it's a 4-iron, or a 7-iron, 6-iron, whatever it is, it's all like that. You just get this nice, solid feel to it. And that feeling that you kind of strive for when you're making swings. When you hit that perfectly flush shot, it gives it to you. It's just that whoosh, that thud, and the ball just kind of compresses off the face, and you get a good feel for how that ball gets off that face with these. So extremely soft, as you'd expect. I mean, like I said, with anything Miura, you're going to know that's what they're kind of made after, gone after, and you get it out of these irons. So that part is great. The sound on it, again, that heavy kind of low thud, muted sound, pretty darn quiet. Almost zero click on center. When you miss it a little bit, you'll get a little bit of click out of it. You'll feel a little bit more vibration, but it's actually way less than I thought. Like I think that larger club head does mask some of it, because when you hit it a little bit low in the face or a little bit on the toe, you'll hear a little bit more click from it, and you'll feel that touch of more vibration to know that you missed it. But you're not getting a lot of harsh vibration. You're getting less harsh vibration with this than say like the Callaway Apex MB. Like you miss hit that. And that small little blade, like you feel it. It kind of like gets to the hands quick, and it's a little uncomfortable. This one here, surprisingly, you feel it in the hands, but it's not harsh. It's not sharp. It just kind of lets you know that you definitely missed it. Now, if you get out really far out there, kind of where the grooves start meeting the toe, or the grooves end, you'll definitely feel that one a little bit more. Or you hit it super low in that last groove. On a cold morning, that's still going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but better than you would think for an iron that really has no tech in a sense to it. There's no foam, there's no urethane in here. There's nothing, just carbon steel. It definitely has a much better feel on those miss hits than you would think from those. Now, when you get to performance in these was pretty darn good. Now, like I said, these are not speed demons. These things were not crazy long. I actually found them to be about 3 yards shorter than a lot of the irons I typically hit. You know, if you put them up against, you know, my P770s or, you know, some of the stuff that I've hit recently, the 925, the JPX 925 forged, those, you know, for me, 7-iron carries around 160 yards, and that's pretty much all I've got in the tank. I'm not a huge hitter when it comes to irons, or any club for that matter. But these here, I pretty much average 157 on good strikes. I saw maybe 1 or 2 160s as I was hitting them, but on my average 157, and if I really struck it absolutely perfect, I'd see a 160. But really, that average of 157 is kind of where I did see most of my decent shots landing. Now, misses, I did see a little bit drop off. So when you miss hit it, you know, with that 7-iron, say you missed it, like my miss is a little bit kind of off the toe low. That shot there, you're going to see a little bit more drop off than, say, some of those multi-piece forged irons, you know, where you'll see a lot of like kind of low 150s and stuff like that out of that shot, where without with some of these multi-piece ones, you're probably seeing, you know, the 155 still, or, you know, even a 157, something like that. You'll see those carry numbers kind of get out there still. This one here, you're going to have to be a little more precise and get it a little bit more on center compared to those heads. Now, I know it's not kind of fair to compare them in a way because those are multi-material and they've got the thin face and the foam and all the stuff in there to make them kind of go fast all over the face. Excuse me. And these don't. So it's a little unfair in that sense. But what that, you know, what this makes up for there is consistency. Like when you hit a good shot, the numbers on there just are the same. Like you just see the same numbers over and over again every time you hit that shot with these irons. So when you hit a good one, it's always going to be, you know, that 157, the 6,300 RPMs a spin, and whatever. Like it's just going to be that almost every time. So definitely something that you know, I kind of expect them to be kind of a little bit more forgiving in terms of ball speed. Didn't see that. Now, in terms of straightness, they actually did stay pretty straight. Like this is a club you can still work the ball. You're going to walk up, be able to kind of, you know, work it right to left, hit draws, hit fades, do whatever you want to do on the course to kind of hit the shots you need to hit. Not really my game, but I can see where that is. But also, you know, if you're a player like me who's going to miss it off the toe a little bit and hit a little bit of a draw because I got over the top on it, that ball doesn't go as far right and left than I thought. Like the bird's eye view, fairly tight for all shots, whether they were struck well or missed. But the one struck well, I mean, you could, you know, throw a hula hoop out there. They were really tight on well struck shots, and the launch stayed consistent. Ball speed stayed consistent. Spin stayed consistent on all of those good shots. So, excuse me. But yeah, stability, very good. I think the oversized blade gives that thing a little bit of stability. You can hit this ball fairly straight. Now, straightness happens. So if you're a player like me who kind of misses a little bit all over the face, you're going to get the straightness out of it. You're just not going to get maybe the distance that you necessarily were expecting out of some of those missed shots. But on really well-struck shots, extremely consistent. And that was kind of surprising, you know, when I hit shot after shot and hit a few good ones in a row, just looking on there and just seeing, you know, on that TrackMan thing of like, you know, distance, spin, launch, all those things just staying pretty much consistent was pretty cool. Now the flighted thing with the T-bar weighting, or the T-weight bar, the whole flighting thing, I think actually does work. I think they've got something there because I was kind of a little bit nervous about hitting the 4-iron in this set. My 4-iron has kind of become more of a hybrid play just because you need a little bit of the speed and, you know, getting a little bit more height out of those shots. So 4-irons, I don't hit too many anymore. I have switched over. This one here, really surprised on how well I hit the 4-iron on that out on the range. I was shocked at how well I hit it, how high it went. Now, distance-wise, it wasn't as far as I'd like it to go. In a sense, I mean, it was like a 182 club, which for me is usually kind of a 5-iron. But I found that even with some of the high-speed stuff, the 4-iron is kind of, you know, falling closer to my 5-iron. So again, a reason why I've gone more hybrid. But the big thing on this one was launch. I mean, being able to launch this thing, my launch angle average on the 4-iron was 15.7 degrees, and my launch on the 7-iron was 20.4. So, you know, a few clubs different there, and I was still able to get that 4-iron up in the air. Let me see, what is the apex on it? I didn't like write that down. I should have put that on there. But I mean, the launch angle was actually really easy. So height, on 15 cent was 88 feet. So a little bit less than my 7-iron, but I mean, 88 feet for me on a 4-iron is really, really good. But I just noticed that that ball was easier to hit with that 4-iron, up to getting up in the air and hitting a nice high shot that's going to land softer and have a little bit more control. And then again, with the pitching wedge, which I actually didn't take numbers down, the pitching wedge, unfortunately. The same thing. It looked like kind of a flatter, more penetrating ball flight. And the 7-iron was kind of, nice right down the middle, super easy to hit. So in terms of performance, I mean, 7-iron, I came in, 157 was my average carry for all shots, and that takes in some of the misses that, dropped off. They were kind of in the low 150s. Hit a couple that reached that 160 mark, but most things were in 159 to 157 area. And everything in there was, like I said, extremely tight. So when you get to spin I averaged 6271, so almost 6300. And that number, when I hit it solid, was always that number. It dropped a little bit on the draws. It raised a little bit on the fades. But it didn't spin off the planet on the fades, which was pretty interesting. It didn't get crazy high. And it did drop a little bit on the draws, but nothing too wild. There was nothing that you dropped down to like 3,000 RPM and the ball would just scream left and go on forever. You still held on to some spin there and used D stuff in the fives. But solid shots were basically in that 63 to 6,500 range every single shot, and they were really, really tight. It was pretty cool to see. Ball speed on the 7-iron, 113.5 was kind of my average, which actually beat out a little bit. I was looking at the Strixon ZXi7 7-iron I hit a little bit ago, and it actually beat that by a few miles an hour, which I was kind of surprised with. I thought this would be a little bit slower than that ZXi7, but it ends up being just a little bit faster than that, which is pretty interesting. Launch angle on the 7-iron, 20.4 degrees, so easy to get up in the air, hit it nice and high. Had an apex of 99 feet, which for me is really good. That comes in a few feet higher than the ZXi7, a little bit less than the JPX 925 Forge. So actually looking at the JPX 925 Forge, my ball speed number 113 was actually a little bit faster than even that, which was average of 112. But I hit that, that's a few yards longer, a little bit lower spin. But 99 and a smash factor of 1.38. So definitely a really good set of iron. But like performance-wise, I thought they performed really well. I think these things feel great. I think for a player who's looking for something in the feel category that is going to feel great, give them great looks, everything about it, these TC-202s are really, really solid. So I haven't really experienced the turf interaction yet. I'm going to do that as soon as we can kind of get out and play, or at least I have time to get out and play. But the courses, like I said, are just opening now. But overall, I think from the set, I think, you've got a great blend of Miura looks, feel, and all that precision kind of built into this 202. And then you take a little bit of that tech to build in that flighting of the set. And it just works really, really well. Overall, super impressed with these. It's going to be fun to go out and hit them. Are they too demanding at the moment for me? I think I'm right on the cusp. I think if you're a 10 or 11 handicap, these are going to be right on the cusp of what you're going to play or perform with. Now, you could be a really, really good ball striker, all that, and these might work out a little bit better. For me, I think I'm going to have to just slightly improve my consistency to make these things work. But they're just a classic looking iron that sounds and feels fantastic and provides just a level of precision that better players are really going to like and come away with something that they hit really, really good shots with. So these things are really, really solid. Like I said, I've got 4 through gap wedge. The gap wedge is actually pretty solid as well. It looks really good. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting to kind of chip and pitch with it around the green, because I think that Y sole is going to be pretty interesting to have that leading edge, be able to get down. It's not going to dig. Are you going to be able to just thump it into the turf, kind of like a traditional wedge, and play those same shots? I don't really worry about the spin on it. I think that's going to be fine. But it'll be interesting to see that sole, how it performs, kind of around the green and in the full shot scene. So to get both out of that and see how it's going to work, it's going to be really, really cool to see. But these things are really, really solid. I was really impressed with these things. I'm going to go hit them again today, out in my net. We're going to go hit a few balls. I'm going to go take these bad boys out and kind of hit them alongside everything else as well. But these are definitely something that's going to go get some shots in the bag and get some. They're going to get some rounds on them this year to kind of see how they perform and how they play. So excited to see these. But yeah, if you're a player looking for something that's a little bit, maybe a slightly bit larger than some of the CBs out there, but you don't want to give up that feel, that sound feel, and that ability to work the ball and all that. These are going to be definitely something that should be on your radar. I know they're not cheap, they're not inexpensive. I want to say like they're something like $2,500 or $2,400 for a set. So they're not anything cheap. But for that price, you do get really good quality control, something that your builder or yourself are going to be easily build without too much having to manipulate stuff or use a bunch of tip weights or go crazy. They're just going to come together well and everything else. So I'm really excited to hit these more. I guess also too, loft wise, these things here play pretty traditional. Pitching wedge 45 degrees. 7-iron 33, 4-iron 23. So pretty traditional when it comes to lofts. I consider those kind of standard nowadays. So nothing too crazy strong. I know some people want to look at, Miura's, the old, 47, 48 degree pitch and all that. These aren't that, but I don't think they're anything also that is too far off, off the planet when it comes to super strong lofts. So pretty traditional there. Live then, I guess, because that does matter. They do change a little bit. 61 in the 4-iron, 62.5 or 62.5 in the 7-iron, and 64 in the pitching wedge. So pretty traditional there too, pretty standard. So nothing too crazy, but overall, really, really impressed with these things. I think they play really, really well, and they're just overall a really solid, really good feeling iron there. So. Launch wise, they're right up there. They're pretty similar to the ZXi7 for me. Almost identical carry number, 57.1 to 157. So the ZXi for me sponged a little bit less, just about 500 RPM less, and the ball speed was a little better on the Miuras. But launch 20.2 on the Srixon, 20.4. So a few feet higher in apex, 99 feet on the Miura to 95 on the Srixon. So if you're somebody playing like a ZXi7, these are going to perform probably pretty similar, maybe a touch less spin for you. And ball speed wise, the Miura's produce just a little bit more ball speed. So overall, a great player CB, really easy to hit. Pretty solid. So. That is the Miura TC-202, the new one. If you want to check out more, I think it's just Miura, let me see. I usually have it up there, MiuraGolf.com. You can go check out more about the TC-202. And that's all I've got today. So that is the show today. Hopefully you guys have a good one. I'm going to go out and hit some balls. It's Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to go hit some balls in my backyard. It's like 60-some degrees. Sun is out. Going to go hit some 7-irons, hit some drivers, and just enjoy being outside and hitting some balls and messing with some stuff. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I would love it. Club Junkie Pod. I know I'm doing quick questions and answers today. Try to do it every Wednesday. If you want to see this on YouTube, see the iron, I put it in front of the screen. Search Club Junkie Golf, or if you're wherever you're listening to the podcast, if you could like, subscribe, whatever, all that stuff, it would definitely help out a ton. So hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. Play some golf if you can. I hope to maybe try to do something. I got kind of a busy weekend, unfortunately, but hopefully I'll get out there and play soon. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following along as always. And we'll talk next week.